we are finding the truth about our past. And the truth that this place that we live is incredible. It's filled with perfection, and we have been distracted from it for far too long. When you walk down the street, you will now see the previous civilization's work in your city, because they are honestly everywhere, and they deserve our attention. Henry Cobb, the first Henry that we were given, is a character that needs to be covered. Here we are given a list of buildings that Cobb is credited with knocking out over 100 years ago. There is one specifically that caught my eye, and that is the Chicago Federal Building. And let's take a look at this picture for a minute. We have shown this type of nonsense before, so let's do it again. They show this fake wagon sitting on the dirt road with more people that are identical next to each other in white. These are not real people. They are all photoshopped. If we zoom in on it, you can clearly see that they are duplicates. They are copy-pasted. And the other one is all glitched out. And who just stands in the middle of a road anyway? None of it fits in. You have a massive building, yet you have horse and wagon, and you have dirt roads. If it rains, the dirt is going to become so wet, and you will not be moving any limestone. Yet this was never an issue for the mainstream narrative. The dirt is always looking like it had just been raked and perfected for the photo. There's a dirt road down the street from my house, and they have to fix that thing all the time. Otherwise, there's massive holes in it. There are no holes in this picture. It's a perfect dirt road. I'm at the point where I'm going to say that this was prepared for the photo in our new civilization. The dirt is sitting on top of the past civilization's work. These buildings are under the dirt. They are much bigger than we can see. This is not the original road. It's all backwards. The road always comes first in construction because you need to be able to access the construction site. This is obvious stuff that the narrative ignores. Like we said, getting the materials there and the machinery would be nearly impossible with dirt roads and donkeys and wagons. If it snows or rains, then just forget about it. Other than a few fake people, a couple fake wagons and a light post, this is in Chicago. And we all know that Shalaga is not abandoned. There are literally no people in this photo. My point is that if this is true, that these are Photoshop people in wagons, which is looking more and more clear that this is the case, then was this the very first picture of this building for our current civilization to see? It's strange, especially when we hear the story about the building.
Oh, what do you think about that story? Oh, is this it? Look at this. This is some guy here using Google Earth, and this thing always does my mind. You can do incredible stuff with it. Huh? To me, you can even zoom in to where you live or your neighbor, and you see them in their backyard. What? This is crazy. Look at this guy, he zoomed in, up to some place here where we don't know where. But this place looks creepy. And definitely this guy is going to come up with something creepy. Because I think this video is to show us something I do think it's intended. Yes, but I knew it must be something that is not ordinary. Look at this. This looks like a skin of an animal. What? Oh my god. Oh, this is very big. Wow, 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 wow. This looks like a giant serpent or snake.
Look at this dog, y'all. Make him do it again.
Good boy. Sit. Okay. Paw. Good boy. Other paw. Okay. Ready? Start.
Mark my words. 2024 will be the death of celebrity worship. Now, I had mentioned in a previous video about us entering the age of Aquarius and what that means for us collectively. Aquarius energy is all about information, and you're going to start seeing a lot of truths get exposed. A lot of darkness is coming to the light. In my previous video, when I was talking about the allegations with Diddy coming out and how it's not going to stop there with him and how there's going to be way more to come, look at what we're dealing with now. What did I say? Now, a whole lot of other names are about to be exposed in connection to Diddy. Epstein's list is about to be revealed, in like a week or two. This is very real, y'all. I really need everyone to release themselves of the shackles of celebrity worship. These are not good people, and their karma is coming to them because Aquarius energy is Saturn. Saturn is about karma. Hello. So honestly, you should really start emotionally detaching yourselves from a lot of your beloved faves. because they're not good people. They are not who they have portrayed to be to the rest of the world, and everything is coming to light now. Also, remember that these people do not care about us, okay? Remember that you guys are the ones in control. You keep them rich. You keep them thriving. Keep all of that in mind when all these names start coming out. Celebrity worship is dead. We are in the age of authenticity now. People want realness. All that fake shit is done, even on social media. So 2024 is gonna look real different. So start detaching yourself from now. I know that there's certain names, you say those names and you get canceled because you can't even say nothing about them. But just keep in mind, a lot of your beloved faves, they are not good people. They're not. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Release it. Release it.
Ah! Oh my god! Whoa! What is happening here? Oh my god! What? That's incredible! Which type of fish is this? You mean it just swallows and removes the waste immediately? Wow! That is a deadly digestive system! Oh! I'd like to know the name of this fish. Can it bite someone? Oh! I can't imagine when this thing comes in contact with my hand. Oh! Anyway, I wish it's full of good vibes. You see? Because all of these animals, in fact, we were given charge of before. So these animals, when we share love to them and give them love accordingly as it should be, the universe will be good to us extremely because it's all connected. Just as like we and you, we are all humans, and we should love each other unconditionally, without looking at where we come from, or language, or color, all that. You know? Like I may not be speaking like you would have wanted me to speak, but you see, I'm a human, and I'm here spreading love out there. You see? As long as you understand, love those around you, and
It's a bridge. Just goes around the corner. Walking on the fighting side of me.
That don't look like it.
Happy holidays.
what if the pyramids are just the top of giant obelisks? What is giant obelisk? What? This is what? This is great. Oh, and it's covered by sun.
So I just had a conversation with a close family member, and it dawned on me today that one of those generational cycles that a lot of families are stuck in, my family is in. Let's talk about it. So the old saying of, that's just how granddaddy is. You know how your mama is. You know, that's your cousin, that's your blood. You gotta love them regardless. No, we don't. No, we don't. See, because this is what I believe. I understand that that's just how granddaddy is, and that's fair. Granddaddy is 74 years old. He can do whatever he want to do. But that does not mean I have to accept whatever granddaddy does. There are some people out there that have been talked crazy to, mistreated, abused by family members. Well, you know that's how your mama is. Your mama has been verbally abusing you all of your life, completely tearing apart your self-esteem and your confidence. And just because that is your mother, your family would encourage you to keep, just that's your mama, just keep her around. Keep her around for what? We don't get to pick our family. We get to pick our friends. We get to pick our business partners. We get to pick our romantic relationships, but we don't get to pick our family. Why is it that they are allowed to have free passes to treat us any kind of way? Because you know how they are. No, I don't know how they are. And I don't want to understand how they are. And I don't want it to make sense of why they do the things that they do, because it hurts me. And I am a firm believer that anything that hurts me has to be removed. Does not matter to me who is doing it. My kids ain't safe. My mama, my daddy ain't safe. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins, ain't nobody safe. Anybody can get excommunicated from Ashley, because at the end of the day, I do not treat anybody less than how I would want to be treated. So if somebody is in your life saying something, doing something that negatively affects you, you may have to evaluate your relationship and the value of that relationship, and you may have to move accordingly. But that generational cycle of, you know how granddaddy is? No, granddaddy is going to be in that house by himself because he don't know how to treat nobody. And I don't have to accept that treatment, and nobody else should either.
More people. There are more people. There are more people than police. There are more people than government officials. There are more people. There are more people. There are more people. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, hello? They want to say something. There are more people. Okay, thank you. There are more people. There are more people. There are more people.
All right, everybody. So the truth is spirituality is hard. It's one of the most hardest things you will ever experience in life, if you have the courage to follow your spiritual path. I've been a teacher, a channeler of healing, connecting people to higher self, 18 years. 18 years professionally. So it's not necessarily that was hard, because it was. But it was getting to that point that's hard as well, right? So the entire path of spirituality is hard. And it is not for the faint heart. The person that goes the farthest, not saying that it's a race, just an analogy, an example. The person that goes the farthest on their spiritual path is the one that has been through the most shit and was able to overcome it. Because the spiritual path is hard. The spiritual path will leave you completely alone. I can't even tell you how many people have disappeared out of my life. So 18 years doing this work professionally. So let's say, 15 years before that, coming out and saying, oh, I see energy. So you have to be willing to not give a shit about what anybody thinks of you. There's still people making fun of me to this day. I know it. Does it bother me? No, because I own my own business worldwide, helping people on their spiritual path. I've had a lot of people make fun of me, right? Because I used to clear haunted houses in person. That's how I started 18 years ago. And the people that made fun of me the most started having spiritual activity, and their entire family was sleeping, all in one room because they were scared of what was going on. Guess who they called? The crazy person, to clear the energy. The spiritual path is hard because you're going to have to face darkness that most people will not have the courage to ever do. A lot of people leave this spiritual path. 18 years, I see a lot of people come and go, right? Just like when I'm at the gym for 2 to 3 hours. And I see one person come in, they do their workout, go to the sauna and the pool and leave. Then I'll see a second person come in, they'll do their workout, go to the sauna and the pool, and they'll leave. And I'm still in the gym. Why? Different makeup. You have to be willing to experience the loneliness. You have to be willing to experience the black sheep. And all of you, if you're still watching this video, you've been the black sheep, if not still the black sheep, right? The peacekeeper, the people pleaser before your healing. The one that keeps the even keel, the young child that has to become the parent. There has to be a strong connection with you and yourself. If there's any sort of disconnection between you and yourself, you're not going to make it on the spiritual path. So many people say they're spiritual, and after years, they walk away. And no judgment at all. I've seen it about 8 times in the past month. It's easier to not be spiritual. It's easier to not grow. It's easy to be spiritual when everything is going good. Watch my video I just posted, the last one about self-love and self-worth. Watch that. You have to have a connection with yourself, and the more darkness, the more trauma you have been through, the more of a connection you could have with yourself if you didn't judge yourself and attack yourself for everything. The spiritual path is the path of a leader. And when you're in the lead, it can be pretty empty and pretty lonely. Or it can be bliss, depending on your mindset, depending on your perceptions. Okay? So let me know in the comments, where are you on your spiritual path, and have you ever wavered? Love to everybody.
The Possessed Boy Who Walked Up the Wall Backwards, Part 3. Now we know that Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures, this was the house that he bought from that
because
story.
the grandmother was holding onto his hand, it was possible to walk up the wall backwards. However, I spoke with an engineering professor from Penn State who, using a free body diagram, looked at the forces involved. Depending on the angle, it would require the grandma to exert over 200 newtons of force. However, a study showed the female's maximum standing push force is only 140 newtons. So this points to the supernatural nature of this.
Yeah,
Another witness, registered nurse Willie Lee Walker, confirmed he walked up the wall, flipped over her. There's no way he could have done that. They then told the attending doctor, who didn't believe them. Dr. Richardson asked the boy to walk up the wall again. The boy said, "I did not walk up a wall. I cannot walk up a wall." The police asked if the boy ran up the wall as an acrobatic trick. She affirmed no. Less than 24 hours later, her 3 kids were taken into DCS custody.
That's sad.
It is noteworthy that her report was dated April 23rd, 2012, so she had written and signed these details within 4 days of their occurrence. Many at the hospital thought that rather than demons, Ammons could have a mental illness. However, after several psychological evaluations, she was determined to be of sound mind and did not seem to be experiencing symptoms of psychosis or thought disorder. The same was true of the children. No disorders were discovered. As a result of this, a hospital chaplain called Father Michael Maginot and asked him to perform an exorcism. The priest first wanted to rule out natural causes and visited Ammons at the house on April 22nd. Ammons complained about having a headache, and Father Maginot said she convulsed when he placed a crucifix against her head. This is also documented in the Lake County Police report. Other phenomena happened, and after a 4-hour interview, he thought there were odd occurrences when they visited, which Chief Miller referred to at the beginning of the video, and more detail can be seen in the report. On May 10th, Father Maginot performed a minor exorcism on Amons at the house.
Exorcizo te un bendissimo.
On May 15th, he was informed that she was not getting better, so a major exorcism would be needed. Major exorcisms require permission from the bishop, and permission was obtained.
It requires the name of Jesus,
Maginot performed 3 major exorcisms, the last in June 2012, at St. Stephen Martyr Catholic Church. 2 police officers were present in case Amons needed to be restrained. These major exorcisms were effective as no demonic activity was documented in the family after the exorcisms. She regained custody of her children in November, over 6 months after they were removed. In summary,
get out of that house.
we have a chief of police for 23 years, a DCS case manager, an RN, and several other police officers who attest to the reality of these occurrences. DCS documentation provided, the many psychological evaluations that yielded no disorders, and the police investigations that found no natural explanations. It is clear that the series of exorcisms made a difference. Add to that a Yale-trained psychologist who has worked on exorcisms with various faiths for over 25 years. These all point to the demonic influence involved in this.
So this was a real house in Gary, Indiana that was sold for $35K to the guy from Ghost Adventures, Zach. Comment below if you want to see more content like this, and remember, in the name of Jesus, demons have to flee. Comment below and click follow.
Oh, that's really scary. That boy pulled some.
This is how to pass your scarf through your neck. Let's learn. Cross your hands, and your right hand, the thumb, will create a loop. So you'll hook it just like so. Start to pull and bring with your left hand around your neck and position this loop right behind your neck. Now when you tighten, it will actually make things look better from the front, and then just continue that motion. Tiger is getting big. To survive Canadian winters, this is what I do. Right hand, both ends go through the loop.
Oh, where I come from? We have never ever had this.
This is a really cool one. She's got the camera upside down. You see this handle of the sword? That is a really cool Birmingham that I have never done before. I'm going to be very, very careful getting this one out. Try to do most of it by hand. Holy God.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
This is the cutter.
Yeah,
the cutter, Norton.
Oh my gosh. Is it whole?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Look at that. That is so cool.
I hate your face. That is so beautiful and perfect.
I mean, it is.
Do you know what happens when a giant redwood tree falls in the redwood forest? There's anyone around hear it. When a redwood tree falls, it doesn't, it's not like when you chainsaw it, when you cut it down, it doesn't go, timber. It doesn't do that, okay? Because first of all, the roots under the ground, which aren't very deep, I'm gonna show you in a second, they snap. And then when the tree falls, it hits other trees and branches fall down. So it doesn't sound like boom. It sounds like snap, 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 boom, boom, because it's hitting other trees on the way down, knocking branches everywhere. And then it goes, cha-bong, bong. It's crazy. Hey, keep it down. Let me come over here where I'm not disturbing everybody. So this is the underside of a redwood tree. See how big it is? So this was a giant, 300-foot tall redwood tree. This is a massive redwood tree. And it fell over, and you can see how shallow the roots were, okay? Very shallow. And see how they broke off? That was that snapping snap, snap that I was talking about earlier. But what I like about it is redwoods don't support a lot of wildlife when they're alive because of tannins and stuff that makes redwoods red, repels a lot of insects. And that's why I don't hear a lot of birds in old growth forests, because there's not a lot of insects to eat. But once they fall down like this, and there's on the underside of here, all these nooks and crannies, things can live in there. And we have some very cool things in the redwoods y'all don't know about, like rubber boas. Yes, we have rubber boas, okay? It's a boa constrictor. Please don't take these home. People keep taking them home, and that's why we don't have very much. So if you see them, just go, wow, they're cool. They have a fake head on the end of their tail so that predators strike that. So see what I mean by nooks and crannies? There is nooks and crannies. nooks and crannies. This is a big giant log that fell down, and you can see there's huckleberries, ferns, all kinds of stuff, berries growing up there. How do those berries get up there? They got up there from a feathered behind who pooped out the seeds. So here's another nurse log. Super cool, all kinds of salal, all kinds of cool edible berries growing on it. They were put there via the birds. These logs will get really, really soaked during the winter, and then they slowly release the moisture during the summer. And so a lot of plants that are growing on a nurse log get that water during the summer, so it's the hookup. Because redwood roots are so shallow, they usually entangle them with all the other trees in the area and hold each other up, which is why you should never plant with just 1 or 2 redwood trees in your yard, because they will come down when the wind blows, and it could do terrible things. But see, when one falls, there's other ones that fall. So usually if you find one that falls, you'll find a bunch in the area like this place. So besides the 3 we just passed, there's that one, there's that one, there's a bunch. And then you can even see the scar. See the scar on the side where the tree hit it and slid down and took off all the bark? When one tree falls, it loosens up the root connections, and so lots of other trees like this one fall after it. There's only 4.6% of the old growth redwood forest left. At Redwood's Rising, redwoodsrising.org, go check us out. We're trying to restore like 70,000 acres of formerly clear-cut forest and try to accelerate the successional stages so it looks like this sooner, because there's only 4.6% of the old growth forest left, and they're in little islands, and we want to connect them all. So that's what Redwood Rising does, redwoodsrising.org. The more you know about your redwood forest, your parks, this is your park, the more you know about it, the more interested and engaged you're going to be while you're here. So watch my videos so when you come here, you know what to look for, and enjoy it. This place is magical.
Hmm. Oh, that was scary. Oh my god. Ah.
I want to share a teaching with you about this very, very taboo topic of alcohol. Religion puts so much stress on us and makes us feel like such sinners that this is actually the trap of the matrix, that guilt does not belong to your divinity. That guilt is your biggest self-sabotage. Hey you guys, how are you all doing?
How's it going, everyone?
Okay, so yesterday Saman and I went on a date night and I put up a story. We've been working really hard and we felt like, oh my god, yesterday was one of those days where we just felt like treating ourselves. So I ordered a passion fruit margarita and Saman ordered a Dos Equis beer, and he ordered his favorite drink, Mexican michelada, which you guys should try if you haven't. But anyway,
it's like this spicy twist on beers that is so delicious. I'm like addicted to it, but I only allowed myself to have it once in a while on such occasions.
So anyway, we went out for this date night and we put up a story sharing our vibe and whatnot, and one member of our audience sent us a message on Instagram saying, isn't alcohol poisonous and doesn't it lower our vibration? But in her field, I could feel like an extreme reaction almost to it. And that's what we wanted to come on and talk about it. So for us folk who are spirituals, ascension junkies, we're on our ascension timeline, I want to share a teaching with you about this very, very taboo topic of alcohol. Is alcohol toxic to the system? So let me ask you this. Is coffee toxic to your system? Is a sunscreen that is not organic that you so openly put on your system, is that toxic to your system? Are the pesticides they spray on your fruit toxic to your system? Is a cigarette toxic to your system? I could go on forever. So I wanted to start off with this premise, and Saman and I are literally chatting about this
and decided to talk about it with you guys.
So what's your thought on it?
We're not hard-ass spiritual teachers that are just black and white. We're the kind of people who love having the most disciplined as fuck life and having leadership, having fun in life at the same time. We are the kind of people that we like to let our hair down every once in a while, although I don't have any hair, but we love to let our hair down. And I think that's essential for a balanced lifestyle. If you go too hard on one path and say, I will never, then it's like, okay, you're becoming a boring Betty, you know what I mean? It's good to be a rule breaker once in a while. And, you know, we say that alcohol is not good for you. That's 100% true. We even teach that in our courses. alcohol is actually considered a toxin and it lowers your vibrations. But then again, what's a glass of red wine on a Friday night after a long week's work, right? Some people would argue red wine's even good for you. So I like to have beer, we like to have margarita every couple of weeks. I mean, it's hardly noticeable for the body.
Exactly. And one of our principal fundamental teachings is to always remember that you are a conscious creator. You are God. You are God having a human experience. And also remember, or just take this as a suggestion, that religion has made us feel horrible about certain things, not praying 5 times a day, or not going to church every Sunday, or having sex before marriage. Religion puts so much stress on us and makes us feel like such sinners that this is actually the trap of the matrix. When you feel guilty for having a few puffs of a cigarette or having a few puffs of marijuana, which is plant medicine, you're not addicted. But let's say you've had a really tiring day and you smoke a little or you drink a glass of wine. That guilt does not belong to your divinity. That guilt does not come from your guides, from God's, from prime creator, from source, from your soul, from your higher self. That guilt is your biggest self-sabotage. That guilt is your ego trying to sabotage you and making you feel so horrible about yourself. I'm not even joking. There was a girl who came to our last event in Croatia, and she was, what a beautiful soul, and she was literally crying on certain days. And I pulled her aside and we had a one-on-one chat. I said, what's weighing on your soul, sweetheart? And she said, I smoke and I feel sick about myself. I smoke cigarettes. And it was so huge, this guilt, this self-blame and feeling horrible about herself. This has got to stop, you guys. Let me tell you how the Ascended Masters have trained us. Spirituality is all about you knowing what your rules are. Spirituality is all about knowing where your balance is. Spirituality is all about saying, shit, I had a cup of coffee yesterday and I know coffee makes me acidic and I want to be alkaline. So guess what? Today I'm going to have a bit of extra veggies and fruit. And let's say next week your friends are in town and they say, hey, let's go for a drink. And if you feel like having a drink, you say, sure, I'll have a beer. But you know, the very next morning you can wake up and have lemon water and, you know, like get a detox. So spirituality is about owning your uniqueness, owning your creatorness, and not having such strong opinions of this is bad for me. Of course, cocaine is horrible for you. This does not apply to cocaine. Do you know what I mean? It's a highly addictive substance. And the guides are also reminding you guys one thing. It's not about your little habit that the problem is. The problem lies in your addictions. So are you addicted to it? Are you trying to run away and escape life by having that one drink or the 10 drinks or having that weed or being addicted to alcohol or whatever the story may be, or be addicted to porn? The deeper underlying problem is what you are trying to escape with this addiction. But if it's not an addiction, if it's innocent, then by all means, there's nobody judging you but yourself.
So just to wrap up, I just wanted to say that it's very easy to get into this trap of thinking of all of these rules that we've made up in our own mind and applying them to spirituality and judging others based on those rules. Because in reality, spirituality is not like religion. It doesn't come with a set of rules. Spirituality is your own unique experience of life, and there's no one size fits all. So we're all dealing with different struggles, and the main crux of today's message is don't apply your judgments on others. Everybody's going at their own pace and they have their own limitations, they have their own freedoms, and we all have an inner compass and we know what we need to do with it.
Bang! The inner compass. Cheers to the inner compass. My inner compass is strong as fuck. How is your inner compass? How is your connection with your higher self?
In
Where
fact,
are
if
you
you're
vibrating?
going around scolding others and judging others, then something is off with your inner compass. Then you have inner work to do.
Yes.
Why aren't you looking at yourself and rather being this disciplinarian and pointing fingers?
At yourself.
Yeah, and others.
Exactly. Comment below. Let us know how you guys are doing, and I'm sure many of you are here who can say, oh my God, I relate with this. And I'm sure some of you will say, no, I don't relate with this. And I love you guys all. There's no judgments here. This is a safe, judgment-free zone.
Love you guys.
Oh, you see, now that is very interesting. Wonderful people. If you have watched up this far, respect to yourself, man. Much love. You see that video with those wonderful humans? They look amazing, man. You know what they were talking about, man. It's incredible. I might not agree with everything we come across in these videos because they are for entertainment and seeing how people live in different parts of the world. But they said something about not judging others, you see, and living in peace with others. Leave the people to be the way they are. Instead, save them love, unconditional love, and caring, and peace and good vibes. That way, we shall all live in happiness and harmony. Good vibes till the end, man. You are loved and respected. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and if ever possible, you can hit the super thanks. Good vibes, man.
This one's really gonna cook your goose. The second coming of Christ is not the return of Jesus Christ from the sky. The second coming of Christ is the global catastrophe. This is why Christ says, "No stone shall be left unturned before I come back." That means everything's going to be destroyed. Earthquakes in diverse places. That's because the entire mantle is starting to shake up because the whole world's about to go. I know you've heard about the auroras and how they're getting farther and farther down the southern hemisphere. And you're starting to see more and more colors, not just that greenish blue that happens up in the northern hemisphere. That's because the Earth's magnetic field is disappearing. And one day it's going to go away. And the Earth is going to get supercharged and we're going to have a global catastrophe. You might have heard about that asteroid child that just passed through the womb of Virgo. If you paid attention for the following weeks, many of the stars in the sky were missing. Although I don't know for sure why that happened, if we follow Revelation when it says the red dragon will sweep its tail, it's probably talking about a planet with an iron oxide tail. That's why you're seeing that weird stuff on the ground all over the place. That's iron oxide. Part of the reason that the aurora is starting to turn red. That gas and that material blocked out a bunch of the stars. When the red dragon sweeps its tail, a third of the stars fall from the sky. It was blocking our view from being able to see them. Pretty soon, you, no matter where you are on the planet, are going to start seeing rainbow colors everywhere. You're going to start seeing streaks of hot plasma across the sky. They're going to tell you it's rockets or satellites and all this nonsense, but it's not. You think they're building all those bunkers for World War III? Think again. They're building those bunkers and they're putting their rocket ships right next to those bunkers because they know the global catastrophe is coming. They're letting you think all these stories about the second coming of the Savior so that you don't freak out and cause global catastrophe before it actually happens. The reason they've been trying so hard to take all the pew-pews away is because when this happens and the grid falls, and it will, the entire world will fall apart and we'll go back to the laws of the jungle. And they prefer that all of us weren't armed along with them. Those FEMA camps aren't because they're trying to create a world dictatorship. They know they're not going to be able to do that, at least not right away. They have to get over this big hump of the global catastrophe. You'll notice that some of these camps have barbed wire facing inward, like a regular prison, but some of them have barbed wire facing outward because they're protecting those people in there. Some of these places are for criminals, and others are for just regular civilians that they're actually trying to protect. If you haven't been in this corner of TikTok or YouTube, I suggest you start looking into it. Check out Richard Mattson, Demolish Doctrine on YouTube. Check out Ben Davidson of Suspicious Observers. Check out Graham Hancock. He talks about these times back in history where it just looks like the entire world was like, it was like a carpet that just got flipped. And I don't know if you're paying attention, but there's more volcanoes erupting right now than we've probably ever seen in modern history. And the amount of 6.0 and higher earthquakes this year, it's breaking every single record. And how about the aurora borealis? This year alone, the aurora has made it down to places like Arizona 6 times. Before that, it took 10 years for the aurora to make it down to places like Arizona 6 times. And before that, it took 100 years. Folks, you need to get prepared. And the way that you're going to get prepared is by clearing out all of your BS, all the grief, all the trauma, all the anger, and re-strengthening your bioelectric field. This is going to be your best protection. After that, it's finding a decent cave. underneath mountains that have their own electromagnetic field from all the metal that's inside of them. You need to pay attention to the right things. You need to be paying attention to nature, because nature is the only thing that's not being dishonest with us anymore. This is why the Bible tells you, pay attention to the signs of the stars, okay? Because the media is going to lie to you, okay? Science is going to lie to you. They're all corrupt. They're just protecting their own self-interest. And you need to stop giving yourself away to bad ideologies, philosophies, and fantasy stories. It is important that we live our lives like Christ, okay? But it's also important for us to understand what the Gospels and Revelation and many other books were trying to tell us, in fact, scream at us. We had to go through a global catastrophe, and we want to give you the information you need so that you can survive it the way we did. We were given a glorious gift with the amount of information we were left from our ancient ancestors, and we need to stop assuming that they were goofball barbarian cave people who just drew on walls. They had an incredible civilization, and they lost much of it to this global catastrophe. And then they did everything they could to try to help us in the future so that we could prepare against it.
Oh my god!